Yeah, my name is Ichiro Tanioka from Osaka, Japan. Osaka University of Commerce is the only Japanese university who studies and also collecting goods of the indoor games, including gamblings and ancient games. So please go to the. Yeah, please wait a second.
There's 4 sheets there.
Oh, yeah. So my topic is the origin of 19 by 19 line Go board. When, where, why, and how 19 by 19 Go board spread. This is a Shosoin article, Go board, which was explained by Dr. Kim. The official record suggests this Go board was a gift from, how to call this king's name, Dr. Kim? Kudara? Uija? Anyway, please forgive me for some wrong pronunciation of Japanese reading. Probably a gift from Gijio from Kudara, which is today's South Korea, southern parts of the Choson peninsulas. One thing which is very notable feature of this Go board is there is a 19 star points or flower points, whatever you call. So our standard Go board has only 9 stars, but this Go board has 17 stars. Please remember the number. So Go board and stars at the stage of early 20th century was like this. China used the 5-star Go board, of course 19 by 19 lines. And Japan uses 9 stars Go board, and this is still the standard today. And Korea, which was also introduced by Dr. Kim, was using 17 stars Go board, and many stars or flowers looks like dots. This is a recent one, and this one has been used up until 1930s or something, I believe. But Go board was 17 by 17 lines long time ago. As Peter also mentioned, the graveyard of one army general in 2nd century shows the 17 by 17 Go board. If you gaze at this board carefully, here is the flowers, and here is the flowers, here is the flowers. Totally 5 flowers on the board, I mean star points. So the Chinese 17 by 17 board had the 5 stars long time ago. And this is a person introduced by Dr. Kim also. He mentioned in the 3rd century, Go board has 17 vertical and horizontal lines, totally 289 points, he said, in the text of the one book, which was published in 3rd century. So original document was disappeared, but the copy and the memo are left behind today. Another evidence. The nearest evidence of the usage of 17 by 17 line board was archaeological foundings of Go stones rather than Go board. These stones, which are known as the oldest set of go stones, along with the container, goke, were excavated from the graveyard who passed away in the year 301 in the early 4th century. A notable fact was that the total number of these stones were exactly 289 pieces, which is 17 multiplied 17, of course. Unfortunately, the number of stones are decreasing year by year, you know. Probably some big name person brought it back to home as a souvenir, or may not be a single person, because this kind of stealing happened for Shosoin Temple's ghost stones. Okay, originally in the memo, it was 300 pieces, 150 each, but now it's 211 or something. So, no, also the person who brought it back to as a souvenir is recorded. Oda Nobunaga, Ashikaga Yoshi. Well, anyway, some people just put a note. I will bring 2 stones back to my home. It's written. So, unfortunately, this stone only have 275 right now. It's a shame anyway. One more fact. One book poem which was edited in 440 AD included a poem of 17 by 17 lines go board. Nobody knows when this poem was originally made, but it should be before 440 and not so long ago after, before the 440, because this poem was created for the one princess's requiem. So it should be made by someone who acquainted to that princess. Means shouldn't be too long ago. Emergence of 19 by 19 line go board was the end of North Sui dynasty, or at the Sui dynasty, it is already found several, and also on the document, the go board was 19 by 19. So somewhere in between, the go board has to be changed from 17 lines to 19 lines. So we now can limit the possible years to be changed into 180 years. Now, 3 questions arise if this is true. Why 19 by 19 line gold was made? The second, where was that board made? And who made it? Those 3 questions I like to answer. First of all, why? To explain why, I must explain about the facts of calendars first, especially the Chinese calendar, solar calendar system. Many of you may have heard before that go board was utilized as a calendar. I believe so too. 19 by 19 lines board has 361 intersections. For usual year, the 4 stars of corner must be counted twice and make the total 365. Usually 4 corner counted twice totally made 365 days. For a leap year, the star of the zenith, Tengen, must be added and count totally 366 days. This is my hypothesis, don't believe, okay? And you may know in China, 4 stones, 2 blacks and 2 white were preset before every go match starts. The first move was conventionally put on Tengen. It was one of the mana. So those 5 stones and flowers were used as a counting, also kind of ritual. superstitious movement. Since the 2nd century BC, before Christ, the 24 subseasonal explanatory note was common to Chinese people, so that agricultural group works can be done collectively, simultaneously. And in East Asian country, this subseasonal notes is very common. And in Japan, we call it as a 24 sekki. I don't know the pronunciation of Chinese, but depending on the position of your season, the Earth usually moves one round of the solar 360 degrees, and depending on the position, your position, the stars are totally changed. So this is a Sunjan paddock Dr. Kim explained. A preset of the stone is 16, and usually black stone put on zenith, then a game starts. So it's a very no early stage. Chuban starts in suddenly. But this, anyway, 17 stars matches with all the 24 seasonal notes you may notice. For example, if this is the start of the spring, the center of the right side comes equinox days of the springs. And then excuse me. And the start of the summer starts here, and so on. So this way of go board matches with 24 seasonal notes to be shown on the board very nicely. So this is the reason why Shosoin temple's go board had the 17 stars. It means the Chinese calendar moved to Korea. And then go board also might go there. And then the go board was newly created, reformed inside the Korea. That's my kind of guess. So the temporary conclusion, someone, probably an astronomer of the office of calendar making, suggested to the powerful person that the go board shall be 19 by 19 lines as the will of universal God. The power decided that the official go board shall be 19 by 19 lines. An official announcement issued, or proclamation was issued. And thereafter, ranking of go skill must be decided by matches played by 19 by 19 line go board. That's why suddenly 17 by 17 line go boards disappear from almost all over the Chinese territories. And by the way, ranking system of China starts from 4th century. It is written by the book, a historical book written by very famous historians. Now, time to say where. They understand where the 19 by 19 line go board was established. First, I should explain the notion of kanji, Chinese letters, which may not be so familiar to American people. So I'm sorry. In Japan, this letter go was started to use to indicate today's Go game, of course, say around 7 to 8 centuries. Prior to that 7 to 8 centuries, there were no written kanji record in Japan because kanji was not existed in Japan. This letter Go is relatively newer kanji. Not many people notice. Before, as Dr. Kim mentioned, the go letter was like this. And this part is a tree, okay? So, and this part changed to a stones, maybe because the go stone was made by wood before, and then later on it was created by stones. And this new letter, who made it? It's a famous Wang Wei-shi, who is a good handwriting person. And the first time he wrote a book about cooking book, kind of. Inside that cooking book, this is first shown on about 350 after Anno Dominis, I mean AD, at the Tenchacho by Ogishi. This, okay, we tried to find all the example of usage of go letter, but couldn't find. This is the oldest example we could find. And one more important thing is, in Japan, the letter of this one, we only pronounce go, not ki or chi. Today, in China, this letter usually pronounced ki or chi, wei chi or wei ki, right? But in Japan, this letter pronounced only go, not ki or chi, and had never been used other way. And this pronunciation is southern part of China's pronunciation. The pronunciation was unified in year 601 in Sui dynasty. Till then, many dialects have, many small groups actually use the different dialects, and it was very confusing. The people used this letter as a go pronunciation was only those people living in those areas. So the natural guess is probably go game come from China to Japan from those areas before 601, year 601. So before 601 and after 350, the letter was made. Those southern part had two dynasties. One is Tongxin dynasty. The other one is Nanso dynasty. These two dynasties is renowned for very well civilized and we call Renaissance of China eras. So in that time, many knowledge, including mathematics, astronomy, and etc., and many arts, like he's an artist, painter, and he is also the person. He is a philosopher and so on. Anyway, this is a very era. Many civilized knowledge improved a lot. So it is very likely that in those areas, either Tongxin dynasty or Nanso dynasty, the Go board was newly created to a 19 by 19 lines. And it moved to bring it to Japan. Oh, yeah. I have to explain the background factor of in those era. We call sakuho system, which is China as a central king, middle of the world, and then local king. There are several, like a Korea king, Kudarako Kurichosen, or Japanese king also exist. The local leader gives a loyalty and gifts to China, and the emperor gives a right to use the title king locally. also give a right to monopolize trade permissions. Like doing this sakuho system, occasionally the mission visits to central China areas. This is a sakuho system. So but the sakuho system is a kind of central government we agreed upon as a China, right? But China, of course, was the most advanced country in that time. We could not do anything. Accepting sakuho system means also accepting religion, philosophy. Okay, this is very neither courageous movement, because you have to agree upon that the central shamanship is better than superior to your local shamanship. Okay, so like a priest or monk of the local area say something superstitious, but the central one is a unified notion. Okay, so Chinese shaman prophet is better than local shaman prophet. You have to accept this notion, otherwise you cannot be a sakuho system local king. Also, you have to accept the unified calendars, because for like an army movement, for new project or collective any collective movement, you need a unified calendars. So the local king usually puzzle pride or accepting sakuho systems. That was the case for 4 to 5 centuries Japan and Korea. This is new concept. The calendar used by all 3 countries, China, Korea, and Japan in that era, was the only one type, namely Genka calendar. Genka calendar was made in Nanso dynasty in the year 445. That time, the emperor was Wentei, who was known as well-knowledge person and also very fond of playing Go game. Noticeable fact is, in China, the Genka calendar had been used only up until 510 AD. But in Korea and Japan, the Genka calendar had been used for much longer period. Actually, Korea used up until 661. And Japan used, I don't know, up 689 or something. Anyway, in China, they stopped using by 510, but Japanese and Koreans still keep using, and twice from Korea. In year 554 and 602, the very knowledgeable person for Genka calendar came to visit Japan and gave a lecture to Japanese government. And Japanese government decided to adopt the Genka calendar as the official one from year 604. That time already China didn't use, but occasionally they go to visit China, and they knew that they are using new calendars, but still they decided to use Genka calendars. In Korea, Genka calendar was adopted and used very quickly and improved, maybe improved, as I told you. In Japan, Genka calendar had been used, but not adopted up until the year 604. Anyway, excavated articles shows the Japanese were already using Genka calendar before officially adopted Genka calendars. The person who adopted in Japan in 604 is Shotoku Taishi. He is a pious Buddhist and had the reason to respect Chinese shaman, Buddhism priests than local ones. He is a person actually originally started the Buddhism in Japan. So, unified hypothesis. The concept of 19 by 19 line go board was made at Tongxing in late 4th century. when new calendar was established, the power emperor also made apparatus to indicate 72 periods of solar calendar year. It was 19 by 19 go board. You know, the circulate in the outer wall of the 99 go board, there is 72 points. I mean, 18 multiplied 4 is a 72. So 72, someone found that if you make one more line outside the 17 by 17 go board, it is very easy to use for indicate 72 periods of the solar years. And early timing, right after the 445 Genka calendar was made, the new calendar and 99 go board was given to missionaries from local government. Kudara accepted sakuho system and new calendar quickly and improved the go board so that 24 sub-season to be indicated more nicely, as I shown to before. Okay, this is a diagram. And I checked how many official missions went to China from Korea and also from Japan. It may not be all, but several missions actually went to, officially went to China in those eras. And the Genka calendar was made in year 445, means this is very possible timing that Go came to Japan along with the apparatus to show that one. Who did it? I don't know. No evidence. Only 3 personnel are likely to be. One person is Ho Tenshin, who made the Genka calendar himself. He made. All those 3 are mathematicians and good at astronomy and mathematics. And UEC is his boss, teach everything to him. So he was probably too young to make a Genka calendar around this time, but he's one of the most famous mathematicians in those era. He counted, anyway. So those 3 are my guess. And within those 3, my guess is this person who made the Genka calendar. Is very likely that he said to emperor that 19 by 19 board is very useful to show the 72 seasons, and it should be the will of the God or universe. And then emperor accepted, okay, the go board shall be that way from now on, he said probably. So once again, I should confess, this hypothesis is just a hypothesis, okay? And this is very first time I had spoken in front of the people about this hypothesis. So you are the first people who heard. It means nothing, but anyway, it explains, and at least no contradiction with many evidence so far we got. And thank you very much. And this is another go board preserved in the Shosoin Temple. See, there is 9 stars. This is end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Oh, please.
Does 19 by 19 balance the value between third line territory and fourth line influence, so that on an infinite board, nobody would ever play on the third line? Mm-hmm. Edges wouldn't matter. But on a small board, edge tactic, it's all a corner. So maybe 19 by 19 is optimal?
Yeah, there is.
But
Yeah, some people said that way, and that is a good reason. But the ghost stone of the ancient time is actually very small, much smaller. I say half size of today's ghost stones. And then if you okay, you can put the stone actually. I actually tried, and there is a copy of the 19 by 19 go board in many different places, and also the copy of the ghost stones. And many people tried and didn't feel bad to pray. So I don't think it's a decoration purpose, but usage purpose.
don't worry
I
about that.
believe.
Yeah.
Please.
This question is also for Mr. Kim here. One of the things about the boards that don't have any edges, I've always wondered, I've tried to make my own go board, and it came out, but it's very difficult to stop, you know, where you have an outside border and then you have more space. And I just think it might be easier just to cut a line straight across, and then you put like a wood thing around, which makes the outside playable.
That is another possibility. We assume that even the go board is made by stone. Someone should fix on the frame of the made by wood, or a frame to be made after the go board was created, so that they can play.
Yeah.
Actually, I perfectly believe that way too.
Anyway, it's just a theory.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please.
As I told it in my session, that the Kunio, Kunugi Kunio, who is the Japanese scholar, he insists that the Wangtu board was the design board for the construction of the empire tomb, and then he insists that because of the size of the empire's tombs became larger, that's why he insisted the scale board became larger, and accordingly that the go board became larger.
Who is the Japanese name?
So I'll give you the full details. The Kunugi Kunio. It was introduced in the archaeology journal in Japan.
That is very interesting.
Just for your reference.
fact. Yeah, and that is one possibility. Also, his hypothesis we shouldn't ignore totally, because it is very likely that the go board come from actually tombs. Yeah. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you for your talk. I thought it was very interesting, and I really appreciate the fact that you emphasize that it's a theory, because I think too often those of us who write on Weiqi state our ideas as facts, which is very dangerous because people take our words for granted. It's fact. And one example of that, I think, is how often I hear people say that Weiqi or Go originated as an astrological device or divination. And I don't believe there's any proof for that at all. And it seems to me that, in fact, you show a good deal of evidence that perhaps it was created after the fact, that around 400, 500 AD, they changed the game to be more like astronomy, not that it evolved out of astronomy. So I'd love to hear your thoughts of that.
That is my basic notion, that many notes says it was begin by astronomical ideas, but I don't believe the game shouldn't be that way. Someone played the game and then found it was very suitable to the astronomical facts. Then it became adjusted to 19 by 19 lines. For 17 by 17 line boards, it is naturally written. You have make a box and then divide into half and half and half and half. It naturally became a 17 line Go board. So everyone can write, and it is a reason that one may spread all over the world. But 19 by 19 board, it is not easy to write at all. If you try, you will find. But the standard Go board is unfortunately 19 by 19. So it must be someone artificially did it. Okay. So yeah, that's my basic hypothesis. Please.
I have a question just about the actual shape and size of the board. My understanding is the modern boards are like really about 15 by 14 as far, they're not perfect squares. And I just wonder about the history of that not being a perfect square.
No evidence, but I believe Chinese original board has to be perfectly same size vertically, horizontally. It must be a Japanese responsibility who made vertical one a little bit long, so that both can see and anyway. I believe the reason of Japanese 9 star is a 9 direction from the center shows north and east and northeast and exactly same direction if it is a perfectly rectangular shape. But if a different shape, it no use. So beginning, okay, someone who were asked by government to copy the shape of the Korean Go board. Is he making a 9 star by himself? No, never. Okay, he will exactly copy probably 17 stones if someone are asked to make. It means 9 star board was already probably played among the citizens, probably coming by commercial people by ship, or possibly war, or possibly other reason. But anyway, in usual people level, many ships are coming and come and go in between Korea and in between China and Japan. So it was a historical fact. And the Go had to be played among the citizens of Japan by officially. This one was made, I believe.
Someplace I've seen mentioned that 19 by 19 Go is impossible for a human to master. Very difficult for a human to master 19 by 19 Go. Could they have been getting close with 17 by 17?
Well, beg your pardon, 17 by? Can you repeat?
Maybe 17 by 17 was getting too easy.
Oh, no. No way. If you play 17 by 17, you will find the game must be more interesting than 19 by 19. For example, 8 by 8 chess is still, you don't understand and nobody loses interest. The 17 by 17 is so much complicated game already. And no reason that someone bore to that size of the game. That one, I can bet my life. Yeah. Actually, my friend of mine who studied about shogi, Japanese chess, he calculated a kind of equation to know how interesting the game is. And his conclusion is 17 by 17 Go game could be even more interesting than 19 by 19. That's his conclusion.
I think I read somewhere that Go Seigan tried 21 by 21, and he said it's impossible. So
I personally created 21 by 21 board. It costs a lot anyway. And I tried. And the game is interesting, but a little bit too bored. You cannot play within lunchtime, for example, never, okay? And you almost need twice as much stones. Yeah, and so I finally gave up. But 17 by 17, it's a quick game. It's very quick and also interesting games. Of course, joseki might be differed because, yeah, anyway, by many reasons.